Hey everybody, my name is Doug Fine and I'm with D.FINED Performance Solutions in Augusta, Georgia. And today I have with me here Wally Bock, Mr. Wally Bock. And he is an author, a blogger, a coach to business writers. And the man, I wanted to find Wally Bock. I figured it out today. He is a humble sophisticate. This guy reads probably every business book that is recommended, and he reviews books on a weekly basis. He has a fantastic blog. He has experience in doing leadership and supervisory training. So we got the whole package with you today, Wally, and I can't thank you enough for being with me.
Well, thank you for those words that I'm sure make my mother proud, wherever she is.
It's all true. That's the way I see you, man. So let's start with Wally's bio a little bit. And here again, this is why he's a humble sophisticate, because this is all he gave me, folks. And he could have gone on and on about himself. He's an author, a blogger, and a book writing coach. He helps people write the books that make a difference, with the authors not losing their mind or shredding their relationships. So Wally, you're a coach to business book writers also, and that's your primary work right now.
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 10 years now.
Great. I'd like to, our first interview, I want it to be kind of a rapid fire, 7 questions in maybe 10 minutes. And you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, so Wally, in your current business, who do you work best with, and who would you say your ideal clients are?
Well, I work best with people who are coachable. I've discovered that over the years, because what I have to say very often is stuff that runs counter to other advice they've heard, or to things that have made them successful elsewhere.
Okay.
So my ideal client is almost always a subject matter expert of some kind, a successful mid-career person, and has a clear idea of what kind of book he or she wants to do and what that's going to do for them and for the reader.
Wonderful, wonderful. What is the problem that you help these aspiring authors to solve?
Well, most aspiring authors don't have a clue what they don't know. And to make that worse, some of the advice that's common is really not very good. So the big problem is getting them to understand why I do what I do, make it work for them, help them find a way to do things that works with their best work, and we go from there. But it's really the not knowing what you don't know that's the big one.
Okay, so that's what a coach does oftentimes. They draw out from people, get them to start thinking in a different wavelength.
That's true, but I'm not drawing stuff out so much as saying, for example, look, you've heard that the thing to do is to either get up an hour earlier or go to sleep an hour later and write your book. Well, that's stupid, because what that does is that cuts down your sleep, and that makes a problem, makes issues with your productivity, makes issues with your relationships. I mean, it's awful advice, but that's probably what you see. So that's what I fight.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And you've written some books yourselves, right?
That's true.
Okay, so you know what you're talking about. I
wrote my first book in 1972. And it had the scintillating title, Budgeting for First-Line Supervisors. Yeah, well, you can do that all you want, but they gave me a check when I was done.
Of course, and I'm sure it was awesome. I'm just kidding. I'm just not that. I'm not that.
It was awful, but that's from the perspective of 50 years almost.
There you go. That's wonderful. So what's the common problem or the common mistake that people make when they're trying to solve this issue about how to write a book? What are they doing that's just kind of, they're following bad advice, it sounds like. But anything else you want to mention about that?
But it's also that they don't know what they're in for.
Ah.
So you can't judge whether or not for example, the work habits they have
Mm-hmm.
are going to work for writing a book, even though they've worked for 90% of their career up to that time. And it's both misinformation and not knowing how difficult writing a good book is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or how much work goes into it, I should say.
All right. So the mistake is sort of thinking it could happen almost naturally or easily, and then but the reality is,
Well, there are people out there, Doug, who say, well, you can write a book in a weekend, and you can, and it'll be crap. And it's easy to write a crappy book. That's not what you want to do most of the time. So
right.
an awful lot of clients who come to me have tried the other stuff
Mm-hmm.
and get referred to me by someone else.
I'm going to ask you a question that's off the script here, Wally. I heard the other day, a couple weeks ago, that a book is now for people like me in the leadership development, management realm, employee engagement, work environment, OD. A book is like the new, you got to have it just as if you would have a business card. What do you say to that? How do you react to that? It's the new business. It is true?
I think it's true, and here's why. When I started out in business, and when I started out as a consultant and a writer, it was rare to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And to write a book, you had to do all the stuff of going to a publisher and getting it right, and all of that.
Sure.
And so having a book was a big deal. Well, then it got easier to write a book. So now pretty much everybody has a book. And what I'm seeing is that when people get to mid-career now, if they don't have a book, they're competing with people who do. And
yeah,
I think that's changed in my lifetime and yours.
Yes. Okay. Thanks for affirming that and validating that for me. What's something that the audience, and let's say our audience are people that might be interested in writing a book, and what is something that the audience could implement today that would make a difference?
Well, I see people come to writing a book usually in two stages. The first one is they say, I got to write a book someday. And like Sam Horn says, someday is not a day of the week. So they go along, and I'm not making fun of this. It's the way people make these kinds of decisions. They can go along for years thinking, I might want to do a book someday. And then something happens. A friend or a competitor writes a book, or they read a book and they say, I can do that. I can do something that good. I mean, we don't know what it necessarily is, but I call it event two. And when you hit event two, you start getting serious and start looking for stuff. So if somebody's at event two, if they're looking seriously, my advice is go read a bunch of stuff, go to sites like mine that have information on them, try to put the stuff into it, find some people who've written a really good book, not just a book, but a good book. Ask them what it took. It's usually more time and more effort than you think. And then you can make a decision about whether you want to do it or not. Because while I say it's probably become like table stakes, there's a lot of other ways to get known and to tell people who you are and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of the best blogs around. So
Oh,
that certainly works. But you got to suck up to the whole sum.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good technique, Wally. I would say this also, that so Wally says that I got one of the best blogs around, but I get about 25 people a day.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you are on Kurt Hardin's list of 25 blogs that'll make you smarter.
Yeah.
And that's the only, I told my wife when it came out the other day, I'm on that list as well.
Right.
It's the only one I really care about.
Cool, that list.
Because all that other stuff is people trying to do something else, and Kurt's just saying, these are some people that do really good stuff. I mean, Michael Wade is on there.
Oh, yeah.
I love Michael, and Nicholas Bate is on there.
Oh, yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, I can be the junior varsity, but I'm still on the team.
That's cool. I'm on the team too, so let's keep at it, right? Get to the goal line. So from all your experience, and maybe number 4, number 5 are kind of the same, but from all your experience, what's the most valuable free tip you can give? Same.
Well, the most valuable free tip about a book is get realistic.
Okay.
Now, I've sent you a link that we're going to share with people. I've got a whole white paper about what the process looks like.
Awesome.
How many drafts and what decisions you have to make and when and so forth that they can do. I have a website that's got loads of stuff on it. Do that. If you just want to write better, then I've got an easy tip for you. Start reading your stuff out loud.
Okay. To yourself or to other people?
Doesn't matter. If you know you're strong of heart, stout of heart, by God, go out and read it to other people.
Yeah.
The thing is that, as William Zinsser used to say, we write for the ear.
Mm-hmm.
We don't write for the eye.
I hear you.
And your mouth will catch things that your eye misses. And so it doesn't really matter if you read to someone or not, but if you read your stuff out loud, it will vastly improve the writing without doing hardly anything.
That's great to hear. Great free tip, y'all. And we got two more questions, Wally. How can people learn more, people that are viewing this or listening to this, how can people learn more about you and your work? And do you have a free resource to give?
Okay, well, they can go to my website, which is writingabookwithwally.com. We're not into subtlety here. That's the name of the website.
I could figure that out in the first 5 minutes with you.
There's 1,500 posts on there.
Wow.
And there's two free things that can make a difference. One is what I call an options review section, which is if you're thinking about writing a book, I'll spend some time with you, answer any questions that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
No cost, no obligation, no
Love it.
anything. And about 2/3 of the people who do that with me don't do a book, which I think is good because they're not putting more time into it.
Yes.
The other free thing in there is a white paper about the publishing process, which I mentioned to you.
Sure.
And on the landing page from this post, you'll find links to both of those things, plus to a few interesting blog posts.
Wonderful. I will definitely be putting those up when I get our video up and running in the next couple of weeks, Wally. So I commit to that to you. Wally, the last words are yours.
Everything you've ever done is hard. Everything good you've ever done is hard. Being a parent is hard. Being a spouse is hard. Being a good coach is hard. So don't expect writing a good book to be easy. Okay? Choose your heart. If it's for you, do it, but don't do it halfway. Do it.
Someone say that.
Pleased with half measures, as my preacher father used to say.
Your father was a preacher.
He was.
Okay.
He was.
My wife's dad is a preacher. Was a preacher, retired. So Wally, I want to thank you again for your time, this rapid fire round of questions and answers with you. It was marvelous. This is going to be going up all around the world to my 25, my 25 viewers, and thank you again. And I look forward to, I know that you're not very far from me. You're in Hartsville, South Carolina. Am I right?
Hartsville, South Carolina.
And I am in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah. So there's really no excuse for us not to get coffee somewhere, maybe Columbia or.
Well, we have a good friend who lives in Augusta.
Wally, thank you again for your time, and I'll see you down the road. Thank you so much, Wally Bock.
Thank you. Love it.
You bet. Hey, Doug Fine again. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in to this Defined Engagement webcast. I'm in Augusta, Georgia, but I can travel anywhere to help your company amp up its engagement and motivate leadership to be just more effective with their people. So don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I can be reached at www.dougjfine.com or email me at doug@dougjfine.com, and we'll have a conversation, and it could lead to a partnership. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Take care.